The member for Mount Waverley.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I rise very happily to speak on the Owners Corporation and Other Acts Amendment Bill 2019, and I thank the member for Burwood, my learned colleague, for his fantastic contribution. And I agree, it's an exciting bill. It's not as boring as some would say, and I think that is best portrayed when we consider the member for Bentley's contribution about a wonderful example of a local owner, what a fantastic local member the member for Bentley is, concerning the matter of a senior owner who was being basically bullied systematically by the Owners Corporation into paying bills that she possibly should not have been paying, and bamboozled. I believe the member Bentley said that word, and let's put that in Hansard a few times. They just thought they could get away with it. So even, and this was the highlight of, I think, member Bentley's contribution, even the fact that they charged this lady for the call when CAV called them to complain. I mean, how's the cheek on that? Right, so that's what we're trying to stop today and what this bill will do. This bill will implement recommendations from the Consumer Property Law Review, which I believe was undertaken in August 2015. Who would have brought that in? Oh, that would have been us. We do some good stuff. Undertaken by, yes, the Victorian Andrews Labor government. And the Law Review conducted an assessment of the existing consumer property legislation, of the Estate Acts, Agents Act of 1980, the Owners Corporation Act of 2006, which we are amending today, Conveyances Act of 2006, the Sale of Land Act 1962. This review included a review of the conduct of Owners Corporation managers and the functions and managements of Owners Corporations. And as I said before, I think there's a number of aspects of the conduct that we've heard before that definitely needed to be reviewed and changed for the future. And since the Owners Corp Act was passed in 2006, apartment and unit living has grown exponentially across our state. Especially in Glen Waverley, we have two very large buildings going up right now, one on top of the Glen and one next door, I think 16 and 18 stories. All those people will be subject to the Owners Corporation of those buildings. And with this growth in medium and high density living comes a wide range of people with diverse goals and interests and expectations. And it's also worthy of note that this bill will assist owners in retirement villages in regard to the operation of their owners' corporations as well. And my district is also home to a number of existing and soon-to-be-built retirement villages, and some quite large. So we have over 1.5 million Victorians, and as a quarter of us own or live in apartments. These properties are managed by over 85,000 active owners' corporations. Now, this incredible growth in 13 years requires us to review and modernise the existing legislation governing the conduct of these owners' corporations. And legislation has not really kept pace with the changes, and so that's why we're addressing this today. The more than 100 submissions in response to the opinion paper in November 2016 is the best evidence, I think, that we have this much needed reform. Now, this bill will modernise the Owners Corporation in several ways. It will introduce a new, more structured system where the size of the Owners Corporation will determine what requirements these committees will face. The structured system will be spread across 5 tiers, and larger owners' corporations will be subject to a greater number of requirements, while smaller corporations, I believe the last tier is for 2 flats, for instance, will be subject to less stringent regulation. The bill will also double the existing required public liability insurance from $10 million to $20 million for any one claim. And this is required because it really reflects the growth in medical expenses, repair costs, personal injury compensation type claims, those sort of things. Moreover, the amendments will also correct existing anomalies in this legislation. And these changes will ensure that owners' corporations must insure all buildings in multi-building subdivisions so that every building is covered. Further, it will allow smaller owners' corporations in single-dwelling subdivisions to decide to allow owners to take individual responsibility for such insurance, but only under a unanimous resolution from the owners themselves. These changes sensibly ensure that adequate insurance is preserved across large multi-buildings without blame shifting or needless bureaucracy, while also giving greater power to owners of smaller units with common property. The proposed bill will also strengthen the protection of owners' corporations from mismanagement and corruption. Developers will be prohibited from appointing themselves or their associates as managers of the owners' corporations and from voting on resolutions relating to building defects. And we've all heard some shocking stories about some of the things developers do recently, and I won't comment any further than that. Developers will be further required to disclose any beneficial relationship with the current owner's corporation manager, and unethical practice such as enticing buyers with lower budgets or allocating common property as private lots to increase their voting power will be made illegal. This bill also ensures that people who have been convicted of certain criminal offences will not be able to be registered as managers without consent of the Business Licensing Authority, and any manager will be required to hold professional indemnity insurance at all times. I'm sure we can agree that most owner corporations and their managers act suitably. Most look after their owners, their residents, and do the right thing. But these changes make sure that in the worst of cases, and some we've heard in the House, in the example of the Dodgy Brothers and Co, we want to make sure that the fox can no longer be in charge of the hen house, and that's what this bill does. So now equity between lot owners will also be enhanced by this important bill. The ability of majority lot owners to prevent an application to VCAT for changes to these settings will also be removed where all other lot owners have consented to that change, balancing the power between the big investors and the everyday property owning Victorians. Again, looking after the everyday Victorian, just like we were doing on the Justice legislation bill only yesterday. Just another way delivering for all Victorians. The bill will implement several reforms to improve the governance and financial administration of owners' corps, including expanding the duty of committee members to ensure they act in the best interest of the owners' corporation itself. The bill will also prohibit contractual limitations on lot owners' voting rights, allowing owners' corporation to make rules controlling smoke drift from private lots and permitting owners' corporations to separately levy lot owners for costs directly attributed to particular use of certain lots. Now, this bill will also strengthen the oversight of the owners' corporation retirement villages, and these changes will align the powers of village operators who control owners' corps in retirement villages with the aims of the Retirement Villages Act 1986. And as my colleague from Burwood said, we're also a review going on at the moment into the Retirement Villages Act of 86. And I believe there's an option paper due in around about June or July. And so I'd encourage all retirement village residents to get involved in that, to give you submissions after the option paper. I'm sure, as the member for Burwood said, we will be seeing some legislation in due course, and I look forward to the Minister putting that before us. Just a quick shout out while I'm thinking about retirement villages. Recently, Ms Terpstra from the other place and I went to a local retirement village, the Oak Tree Hill, and we had a fantastic morning tea with the residents down at Oak Tree Hill, and they asked us questions about everything. It was great to get that insight as a local member from the seniors in my community, and I hope to do that again very soon. So a quick shout out to Stephen Wilson from OVO down there for organising the day, and all the residents. It was a wonderful morning. So in conclusion, our owners' corporations and their managers will be more responsible to the owners and all residents that they represent. And in turn, these properties will be better maintained for both owners and tenants alike. And I think, as we started off, it's an exciting bill because it helps the residents and the Victorians that we all serve, and I commend the bill to the House.